What are you eating, Erin?
It's spoiler.
Oh,
No spoilers.
You're gonna eat that while we're doing an episode?
It's a drink with chunks. It's a drink with chunks.
Okay.
Illegal find. It's a legal drink.
I doubt it. Sincerely. And welcome to WayTooBroad, a show and tell program for really, really ridiculously excited grown-ups. I'm Hannah, and these are my co-hosts, Erin and Ben. Hi, Erin.
What
I thought I was on Oh Hello the podcast for a second there.
Grown-ups.
The pudding for really, really excited grown-ups. Hi, Ben.
Hello.
I just am trying out some new things. Every week.
I thought last week's was totally inspired. I loved it.
I liked last week.
I laughed genuinely every time I heard it.
It was spontaneous. They're all spontaneous. I'm just trying to entertain myself, honestly, and you guys.
We gotta keep it fresh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we gotta keep it fresh.
Keep it fresh, keep it flimsy.
This week, yep. Always, we're always
like a
saying
piece
that.
of lettuce.
That's the podcast motto.
Like a tender green.
This week we're recording on a Wednesday for the Let the Record show.
Yeah.
Burp. I still burp on Wednesdays.
Speaking of recording midweek, during a meeting today, one of my coworkers accidentally referred to yesterday as last week, and it was like the most relatable thing that has ever happened. He was like, "Yeah, I did those meetings last week. I mean, yesterday." I was like, "Yep."
It's crazy. It's crazy. Time dilation is such a thing right now. It's like some days last forever. This afternoon was 3 entire days, I'm convinced. But then, yesterday was nothing.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I accidentally left the door open, and the dog is sitting here wanting some of my beverages.
Well, let's find out what those beverages are, but not before we find out what Ben's drinking.
Just got water, Wednesday water, baby.
Water Wednesday.
Water Wednesday water. Can you go lie down? I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I'll go.
Go lie down. Please go lie down. Thank you.
It's just I have the camera and stuff set up here, so I don't know if I can go lay down.
Please, everybody go lie down. Hannah, what are you drinking?
I am drinking... No surprise here. Why don't you guys guess what I'm drinking?
Spindrift!
That is true.
I'm gonna guess lemon.
But what flavor?
Erin, do you have a guess on the flavor?
Orange mango.
Wow, she did it!
Damn.
Yay! I was getting a real strong orange mango vibe from you today.
It's my breath, right?
The whole day.
It's your breath.
The whole day.
It's been your breath the whole day.
Yeah.
Erin.
It sounds a little thick for your breath.
Thank you. We're gonna have actual mangoes in the house soon, I guess. Aunt Brown got some in her Imperfect Foods delivery, and she's gonna share with us. So I'm excited about that.
Cool. Because she's allergic to them.
She is, but she's keeping some. She's only allergic to, the skin. So she can still eat the inside part. But she did say, we were talking on the phone today, and she was like, they scare me a little bit. And it took me a second to figure out what she was talking about.
Like Imperfect Foods employees?
No, she was talking specifically about mangoes. She was like...
I know.
Oh, I see. I get it. Erin, what are you drinking?
You're worried that I, too, would not know what she was talking about.
Yeah.
I'm drinking an ice water, and I also have a legal beverage, which is a milkshake, but it's
chunky
New York Super Fudge Chunk milkshake, which is the best ice cream flavor. So it's got chunks in it. So sue me.
In the New York Super Fudge chunks, what are the chunks?
Fudge.
There's white chocolate chunks. I think dark chocolate chunks. Chocolate-covered almonds. Chocolate-covered salted pecans, which are the most delicious ice cream ingredient ever. They're so
Too
good.
many nuts
I have one in my mouth
cream.
right now. Shut up. They're all chocolate-covered. It's fine.
No, too many nuts in the ice cream. I don't want nuts in my ice cream. It has walnuts, too.
Yeah. It's so tasty.
Do you guys know the story of Ben and Jerry's? Good. Like, why it's so chunky?
No.
Nope.
So, Ian and I have visited the factory. So, if this is apocryphal, it's at least, like, the official story, right? So, Ben and Jerry, are, like, two actual guys who live in Vermont.
Lovers.
And they are, like, Bernie supporters, or they were.
Lovers.
That's not important, but just to give some context. Supposedly, one of them doesn't really have a sense of taste. And so, the reason that most Ben and Jerry's flavors, and definitely all the classic ones, like, had big ass chunks of stuff in them was because, like, it was really, he was kind of like, it was important to him for it to have a lot of texture and a lot of different textures because that was, like, much more impactful for him as an ice cream eater. So one of them worked on flavor and the other one worked on texture, and he really liked big chunks, basically. Because he couldn't taste the ice cream.
Wow, I feel like if I couldn't taste ice cream, I wouldn't eat ice cream, but maybe that's a privileged opinion.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he probably didn't eat much ice cream. I don't know how he ended up in the ice cream business, but, like,
yeah.
I think the only part of the story I remember.
Ice cream.
Yeah, maybe. And then he was like, well, then it's got to be an ice cream I'm going to like, so you better put some fucking chunks in it. And then he did, because they were best friends.
Wow.
So. And lovers.
Who knows?
Yeah. I thought y'all were just didn't hear me or ignoring me.
I didn't hear you. Oh, you said they were lovers.
Like 15 times while you were talking.
And they were roommates.
It's not true. I don't think about them being lovers. Maybe it is. I don't know.
That was definitely not part of the official story.
It's not Yeah, it's not canon.
It may be true if not canon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. Can you please go lie down? Why didn't I close the door?
No, I'm not gonna go lie down.
He wants some of my milkshake.
He can't have that. Everything's covered in chocolate.
No, he can't. Yeah, don't worry. He's not. There's no reason that he should be thinking that he is going to get any, because he's...
Can I ask you... Okay, so I know this is common for dogs, and we just saw evidence of it. They're like things they've never eaten and never should eat and never will eat. They still beg for them and get jealous if they don't have them. Ben, do your cats do that?
Do they... Say that again? Do they beg for things?
Yeah, like, or do they get jealous when you're eating and they're not?
I don't know about jealous. No, I don't think so. Hazel drinks our water all the time.
Yeah, my cats...
But that's just the thing she does.
My cats, like...
She's just thirsty girl.
Do that thing that toddlers do, where, like, if they see you eating something, they assume that they should also be eating it. Like, so both of them do it. Like,
actually, Hazel does that,
and it's
she
so often
walk up
things
and
that they
start
can't
sniffing
eat.
and trying taking stuff off the plate.
Yeah, things they can't eat, things they've never eaten, things they definitely wouldn't like, but they're just like, that should be mine. And, like, if I stand up and eat, they'll just, like, if they notice it, they'll just, like, watch me wherever they are in the house.
Wow.
Like... And then also, I made the mistake of giving them pieces of cheese, like Baby Bells, while I was eating them, like, once or twice. And now every single time that I have any cheese at all, they climb all over me. Like, they're very intense. But it's cute. It's fine. I reward it, so it's not going to stop.
Yeah. That's the thing, like, with Henry, he begs a lot. And I try not to, like, feed him as a direct result of him begging, but it does definitely remind me, like, oh, it would be fun to put a cookie in his, his puzzle feeder or something like that. So he does kind of do a thing when we're cooking food or cleaning up from dinner. He sits by his cookie jar And, like, that's because that's his time that he usually gets a little cookie in his puzzle feeder. So it is kind of, it's really hard not to, like, reward those behaviors, because this is really cute.
It's really cute.
And it does remind you, like, it is a good, oh yeah, this would be a great time while we're cleaning the kitchen for you to, like, have something to work on. So.
Yeah, see, I think the stakes
are we training them or are they training us?
Am I right? Am I right?
Who's walking who? Am I right?
I don't know. I just, yeah. I'm not.
Who's drinking whose milkshake?
Oh, right. Wait. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So I have two up front. Exactly.
What's up?
Give them in order.
In order?
Yeah.
In order.
Well, I wrote them down in a certain order. I could do them in that order.
Well, perfect.
Okay.
Did you write them
that
down
order.
in the correct order?
I don't know what's so hard to understand.
In order.
Please give them in the correct order.
Okay. I don't think we talked about this on podcast, but I had been having some trouble figuring out what was going on with my government stimulus check for the COVID-19 stuff. And so I wanted...
You and everyone else, am I right?
Yeah, like a lot of people. And I did finally today get the money for, we like filed jointly, so we got like a little direct deposit for both of us to share in my account.
Dope.
I wanted to tell you the first two things I did with my extra money.
Excellent. Did you buy more Spindrift?
No, not yet. We bought a pizza from DoorDash, and then I commissioned a portrait of my cats.
I love that. You're stimulating the economy.
I'm helping freelance artists. Actually, it's the same person, Allison Wright, who did the artwork the new artwork for So Dreamy.
Oh, I'm fucking obsessed with that fucking
It's
artwork.
great, and she was wonderful to work with. And then, like, I got this idea in my head a while ago that I wanted to commission art of my cats, and then I started like searching Twitter for people who specifically do pet commissions. But like halfway through, I was thinking to myself, like, I want to find someone whose style I like as much as Allison's. Like, I like her art so much that it's like the background on this computer. Like, it's been that way for ages, and I never get tired of looking at it. I follow her on Twitter, and I'm like obsessed with every progress photo she posts of anything. And then finally I was like, hold up, idiot. Why don't I just ask Allison if she draws cats? And then turns out she's drawn them like dozens of times and loves them. So she was like all about it.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
I love that.
Yeah.
You want to know what my update on my stimulus check is?
What?
Aww.
Still can't fucking get any information on it.
Wow.
And
a big fat fuck you.
I don't know what to do.
So you...
Like, their website fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm just one of the people they don't have information for yet, because apparently that's like, there's still people they don't have information for.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you when, because when I was having the same, it's like information not available every time that you try it, right?
Yeah.
Or like
Well,
status
and then
not
there's
available.
the added, oh, you know what I haven't tried is, actually, let me try this real quick.
Okay.
Did you try an all caps and a period at the end of your abbreviated street name?
I didn't try all caps, but I'll try all caps. Because what I hadn't tried was that address that I lived at for like 2 months. Or 3 months.
Oh.
In California.
Because I don't know how they would have had that address, but I also don't know how they had Kylie's address as here. So you said all caps, and then you abbreviate the street with a period at the end?
Like, yeah, if it's street, you do like ST with a period at the end.
Nope.
Bullshit.
That's so fucking annoying. And then you can't... I've had 3 addresses in the past fucking year, and I can't check all of the combinations of all of them every day without getting locked out for 24 hours.
Yeah. It is possible that they haven't like resolved it for you yet. They could be doing it on like a rolling basis or something. Because I was getting this.
They could not like you.
Maybe I just need to call a number, but I'm like scared of being on hold forever.
Ugh, phone calls.
Yeah. Oh, I'm remembering now. I called the government and told them not to give you your check.
Oh, dang. Actually, also, I did
Why'd
too.
Guys,
Yeah.
why'd you do that?
We just didn't. Well, I don't know about you, Erin. I won't speak for you, but I didn't feel like you deserved it.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I didn't feel like you were going to do something super cool, like commission a portrait of your cat. I didn't feel like you were going to use your check to titillate the economy as much as you did.
That should be the slogan of the safe reopening. Titillate the economy. Soft reopening, foreplay is important.
Yeah, phase 1, foreplay. Phase 2, whatever, more intense foreplay.
Yeah.
Second base.
Oh my god. The governor just rolled out like a 4-phase plan this week for Massachusetts. So that's like first base, second base, third base. Home run. Amazing. I'm going to think of it. I'm going to talk about it like that from now on. It's much more fun.
Cool. She's going to think of it.
I'm going to think of it that way too. Okay, my other upfront is just a quick update on my gardening obsession.
Oh yeah.
I've become fully obsessed with notice every time I'm outside. It's like there's so many beautiful parts of the garden now, but all I can see are the vines that are still like at the edges, all around the edges of the property, that are kind of like, you know, halfway into the neighbors' yards and stuff. And I don't know, I don't think either of our neighbors would mind if I pulled them, but I've been only pulling from like our side. And what I've realized is that the satisfaction I'm getting out of it is the same satisfaction I get out of like picking something that like is really peely. It's like the excitement of like pulling one thread or one vine and getting like a whole like huge section of stuff out of a bush or a tree. I don't know that there's a name for that sensation in English other than just like satisfaction. But it's like it's like the same as like a good like paint picking session.
I bet there's a word for it like German, that there probably is. You know how they are.
Yeah, let us know if you know the word
like
for that.
Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah, it's probably it.
That's probably the one. Yeah, like picking satisfaction, or like picking satisfaction, or something like that.
There you go.
I looked so angry.
I had to get into my zone. Had to get in that zone.
Yeah. Ben, did you finish She-Ra yet?
No.
Why not?
Excuse you.
This is to get on Ben's case about She-Ra.
Everyone should watch it.
We started. Oh, here's an upfront. We started Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Which Molly has seen.
Oh, really?
Before. Yeah, she's seen the whole thing.
That's good.
So, yeah, she was, we had a small moment of freak out because she had looked up when her favorite character, who I don't know who it is, comes onto the scene, and she was like, it's not till season 3, or season 4, and I was like,
I know who it is.
And I was like, there are only 3 seasons on Netflix, but it turns out they just have it in a different, they have it by book, I guess. On Netflix, and not by season, I think. Anyway, don't quote me on that, but I'm enjoying it so far. It's funny. It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. I watched that for the first time recently, too.
Nice. Wasn't it your obsession?
Sounds likely.
Might have been mine.
Who was it?
And then
I'm going to go to WayTooBroad.com and check the topic index.
And then I don't think this was anyone's obsession, but after we finished watching Avatar, we watched the sequel or the spinoff. What the hell is that called?
It was Hannah's obsession.
I actually think I know what happened with the 4th season thing.
Oh, really? What? Wait. Hannah, what were you saying?
What's the name of the spinoff show?
Legend of Korra.
That's it. Watch that.
That's what I was going to say, is that I think the character that Molly's thinking of doesn't show up, is also in Legend of Korra, but doesn't show up until season 4 of Legend of Korra. That might have been what she found.
I see. Gotcha.
Well,
But shows up in Avatar, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I might know also.
I might know.
She's probably my favorite character, too, if it's who I'm thinking of.
Cool. I don't know who it is, so take it up with Molly.
The Legend of Korra is also pretty good. It's not as good as Avatar, The Last Airbender. But
I think it's just as good and disagree.
I like the ending, and I like some of the things that I can't say because they're spoilers.
I just like how the world has changed. I don't know.
I like cool. That too. It's not that it's not good, but I feel like The Last Airbender is really exceptional, is all I'm saying.
They're all good. You know, it's interesting, actually. Since that came out on Netflix, there's been this, like, weird Twitter debate that I've seen where people are, like, talking about how one of them is, like, so much better than the other. Oh. And, like, how Aang is a much better Avatar than Korra, or vice versa. And I just don't understand the animosity people seem to have towards people who think the other way. Like,
yeah,
they're both just really good shows that were made by the same people, and they're just great.
I feel like that's, like, the thing that starts to really wear on you about Twitter pretty quickly is, like, people just are there to argue for the sake of arguing. And it's not that I haven't done plenty of that in my life. Like, my dad tells a story about a time that my mom and I were fighting, and he asked each of us separately why we kept on arguing, and we both said, I don't know, it's fun. Like, individually. I get it.
I think that was about mozzarella.
What? We were arguing?
I think I remember that, and I think it was about mozzarella.
Oh my god, please give me details right now.
I just feel like I remember when I was a kid, maybe, like, Hannah ate fresh mozzarella from the fridge that Mom thought was hers or something. And I remember you two just, like, fighting about it for, like, way longer than was appropriate for it just being about mozzarella. And I think that was when Dad was like, what are you guys fighting about? Why are you still fighting about this? And one or both of you said, I don't know, it's just fun. Like, it became very clear that neither of you actually cared that much about the mozzarella. But you just both were, like, kind of having fun just fighting.
It's never about the mozzarella. It's about the fights we have along the way.
Yeah, and
the mozzarella.
That's what it was. That's what it's like to be on Twitter. It's like being Dad in that situation. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, that's frustrating. Yeah, like, just, like, take a step back and think about, like, what are you arguing about? Like, they're literally canonically the same person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Who gives a fuck? That's not a spoiler.
That's how the Avatar works. Mm-hmm. It's not a spoiler.
Yeah, I know that. I watch it. I watch that show.
Okay.
And to watch that show.
Cool. Do we have any other upfront stuff?
Nah.
Oh, do we have?
I have a belly full of milkshake.
I didn't check our email. I don't.
I did. We don't have any.
Okay, cool. Do we have any new?
Well, we don't have any. We don't have any primary. I don't know if we have any new comments by any robots. I didn't check
about our content.
About our content.
About our great content.
We have some recommendations from the chief product officer at Stitcher.
Oh, dang.
No, I don't think we have any new comments. Nope. It's too bad.
Too bad, so sad.
Oh, wait. Jesus Christ. When is this from? Oh, there is a comment from May 10th. From George Davis, and it just calls out a timestamp, 39 seconds, and then says sexy-milfs.online.
Referring to our podcast at timestamp 39.
Oh my god.
Can you please listen to what is happening at timestamp 39 and report back?
Yeah, I will.
Is about the purported clips of MILFs happening online?
I'm trying to see if... Where the hell are comments now? on this blasted website.
I swear to God, it changes every 3 days. At least on the mobile app. It's like, comments are up here now. Comments are down here now.
and now I actually think that both of those might have gotten, like, somehow auto-deleted, because they're not.
Oh, okay.
But, hold on, I will get to 39 seconds.
What episode is this?
Oh, this is on episode 134. I was waiting to remember.
Nice.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
Beep, beep.
At 39 seconds, we're still in the theme song.
Oh, okay.
So, not sure. Not sure
Yeah,
what's...
that's that. You know, that adds up. Sexy
Yeah.
moves.
Dot online.
Sexy Mo's. Start online.
Sale. Then I think that's it for Upfront.
Excuse me. Let's jump and pop
Let's jump and pop. I'm excited, actually.
Jump and pop.
I'm actually excited.
Awesome, me too.
Excited.
I'm actually
Me too.
really excited.
Is it Ben first?
Yeah.
You know it is. You know it is, motherfucker. Guess what? Hannah already knows what it is. Erin doesn't.
Wait. Why? Why?
Because we're conspiring against you.
It's a conspiracy.
Why isn't it called that? Or why don't we say conspiring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because to answer your question, Erin, on why, because it's yet another obsession I've shamelessly stolen from Kylie, who before I even read it, it's a book. Before I read it, suggested it to. I think she might have put it in like the whole general family Slack, or maybe just the like Cape Cod Brown specific one. I don't remember. But either way, Hannah also bought it and started reading it, and we've been talking about it while Hannah's been reading it. I didn't want to talk about it, so I was equally obsessed with it last week. I've since finished it. Oh, I should say what it is. The book is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
she did post about that
Yeah.
in general because it looked really cool.
It is very cool. I was very obsessed with it last week. It's the fastest I've read a book in a long time. I think I read it in like less than a week.
I love that.
Yeah, you just can't put it down. And that's what it looks like. It's very pretty.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And I didn't want to talk about it on pod until I finished it, though.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so the premise is... And it's weird. This is, like... I feel like saying all the details of the premise are, like, kind of spoilers if you start the book without reading the back of the book.
Right. I thought that about the back of the book.
The back of the book.
Like,
Yeah,
there's actually information on the back of the book that you don't get until, like, the
well
14th chapter or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
No spoilers then. And I won't read the back of the book.
I mean, I think this is fine to say. I don't know. Do you think like the whole premise is fine to say?
I think I wouldn't have read it if I didn't have like
right. Yeah, because you can't really describe it otherwise.
Yeah, there's like a part of the
without,
premise that I think is important that's not immediately evident from page 1, but I think that we should say that at least.
I agree. So
cool.
basically,
I trust you.
It's basically a murder mystery, except the narrator is living the same day 8 times inside 8 different people at a party. And the murder happens at like the end of the night each day. Well, because it's the same day. It always happens at like a certain time at the end of the night. And he has to try and solve the murder. And there's a lot of mystery about like how he ended up in this situation, and there's like a whole bunch that goes on other than just him solving the murder. But it is just so fucking good. Every host is very different. That's what they call like the person that he's inside of for that day. They call it the host. Every host has like kind of their own things that they're good at, their own strengths and their own downfalls, and also like varying degrees of strength of personality. And he sort of has to like make sure he's not losing himself too much to like the whims and impulses of whatever host he's in, which is a very, very cool thing and very well written throughout the book, I think. There's like one, and Kylie mentioned this too when she recommended it, and Hannah and Kylie and I were talking about it today. There's like one major thing that it's honestly like the only thing I really didn't like about the book, and it's that one of the hosts is like very obese, and it's just like really, really fat phobically written for a lot of that chapter.
No.
Yeah, it's like he just like really keeps laying it on how like terrible and shameful
gratuitous.
it is. And, like,
it's so gratuitous for this one chapter. It's like this one short chapter that is like over the top of, and it's not just like describing being in a fat body for the first time, which I can kind of understand like why that would be
that's the thing is I feel like it could have been actually done in a not offensive and like terrible way where it's like it'd be weird to be in anyone's body, especially, but like if you hadn't been heavy your whole life and then like you suddenly woke up in a heavy person's body, there would be some things you'd have to like adjust to, but you don't need to like
lay on the shame. Like there's like this like a sense of shame to the whole thing. I mean, and I guess another thing just to give like some, I don't know, credit to the author is that, like Ben said, there are aspects of the personality and the experiences and the memories of the people that they're in, which are part. So like maybe that person. So
some of that might have been just what the guy felt every day.
Right. Like I'm willing to grant him that, especially now that I'm a little further in the book. But like there are some choices that he made about the character as a person who's not heavy that I found kind of like, again, just gratuitous. Like they bring his breakfast and it's like enough to feed like 3 or 4 fucking people. And he's like, oh, this should be too much, but I'm so hungry and I'd eat all of it. And I'm so disgusting and greasy now. And he wakes up just like soaked in sweat and smelling and can't like get anywhere without help, like from his valet.
Ew.
So like that was like, I was kind of angry about it earlier today, but I know Kylie has researched it, and I also did some research on it today, and like the authors definitely heard about it. Like if there are negative reviews, they're generally all about that chapter and how like over the top it was.
And it especially sucks because that host ends up being like one of my favorites by the end of the book, because he's like probably the smartest one of all of them.
Yeah.
And it like, and even the narrator, as the book goes on, like, and it gets another host, he like finds himself wishing he was back in that other host's body. And it just, I don't know. It just was very like kind of viscerally upsetting for that. And you're right. It's like basically that like initial chapter of him being in that host.
Yeah. That's the main one.
That's like especially gratuitous. And then like, but then it's just such a downer. Like I wish that chapter was gone, because like that host does like such cool shit basically right away after that, where he like he's like thinking like 5 steps ahead of you as the reader in a lot of ways, and like his chapters are some of the first ones where you're like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? How did he think of that? How is he figuring this out?
Yeah.
And I hate that like is stuck with the memory of this like really shitty chapter.
Yeah.
But beyond, other than that, the book is very, very excellent, and I really, really liked where it ended. Also, there's like discussion questions at the end of the book for like a book club, and Kylie was really excited I was reading it, because she like wanted to hear my theories as I was going, which is really fun. If any of our listeners end up reading it, you should send us your theories as you're reading it, because it's just fun to read other people's theories when you know what's going on. And we like looked at some of the discussion questions and like just talked about them for a while after I finished, because there's a lot to think about even when the book's over. And
that sounds so cool.
I will say this, if anyone who's listening, or if Hannah, while you're reading it, if you like figure it all out before the book ends, I'll be super fucking impressed. I didn't get anywhere close.
Wow.
But the payoff was worth it, you think? It didn't disappoint at the end. Good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because, oh my God, it's like it does get quite complicated, I feel like.
Oh, yeah, it does.
But
I think
totally engrossing. Like, I have not been able to put it down, which is really unusual for me in the past few years with any book.
Yeah, me too. I think it is worth it. I think, and I also think he periodically does a good job of like, you know, in the context of him waking up in a new body and be like, okay, I need to review like where I am and what I know. And it also like helps you as the reader to be like, what has he actually seen in the past few days? Because there's so much and like every little thing matters because you're meeting all these characters as different people and they're all treating you differently depending on who the narrator's inhabiting. And you like have to keep track not only of like just what they're saying and like the sort of facts of the situation, but also like how they're interacting with whoever while you're someone else. There's just so much to it to keep track of in your head. I think that's part of why it's like I feel like nearly impossible to figure it out. But yeah, I don't know. I'll just be very impressed if you do.
I have no theories yet. But
I think I had like one or two theories as I got like 3/4 of the way through, and then all of them were wrong. Or like at best partially correct, and at worst totally wrong. But yeah, it's extremely engrossing.
Nice. I'm excited to read it.
Yes, good.
Could you get it digitally from anywhere?
I don't like to read digital. I don't have a good digital reader, and I kind of like having the book around.
Yeah, it's so funny. The only people in our family who don't read physical books, I feel like, are our parents. Like, we always end up with the paper copies somehow.
Yeah.
It's kind of...
Yeah, my parents are both, I think, digital readers.
Backwards.
Oh, I so prefer physical books.
Me too. I'd like to get into digital reader. It would be so much cheaper and just, like, easier. But I just like having... I like having it.
It's like the physical book. Maybe if I had, like, an e-reader that was just for books, it would be different. But, like, having a multi-purpose device that I can also read books on, like, it's... I'm going to forget that I have that book on there, or I'm going to, like, go onto the device with every intention of opening up a book and end up opening up Twitter instead or something. Like, it's there's so many distractions on there. Or notifications that pop up while you're reading or whatever. Like, that doesn't happen with books.
I've read a couple Kindle books, and I felt disoriented because I never knew, like, I could see, like, seeing a bar of your progress is so much different than, like, having a physical,
I like physically.
I know how close I am.
How far away you are.
Yeah.
It's more satisfying.
We sound like old people. Except all the old people I know totally have different e-readers.
Maybe it's something about a lifetime of having to cart books around to your various homes, you know, like moving and stuff. Although you'd think Ben would be there by now. 3 addresses in the last year.
Yeah. And I really like having, like, you know, I have a, like, book collection of these, like, queer books, and I, like, love having them in my library, seeing them in my library. Like, I'll go over and be like, oh, I want to read something, you know, and, like, pick one out. I just, like, love the whole physical book thing.
Yeah. I want a library like in Beauty and the Beast.
Also loves physical books and actively hates e-readers.
I've definitely been in those shoes before.
She's been
in those shoes before. Plus, a physical... She's been in those shoes. A physical book feels like a special thing, too. It's not, like, just, like, more digital media. It's like a little treat. Like, oh, here's this, like, thing.
Yeah.
That I can have and hold, and it's novel. But you know what I mean?
That's good. Hey, Erin, that's good.
What's up? Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Ben, buddy.
Like, this book is, like Ben said, it's very pretty.
It's pretty.
And it's also, like, it's got a texture to it. Like, it's got a smell. Like, it's got, like, it's, like, embossed and stuff. Like, you can get the cover art on your e-reader, but it's never going to feel like this, you know?
And honestly, like, I spend my whole day looking at a fucking computer. It's really nice to just, like, spend some time with, like, just a fucking piece of, like, paper. Or
just one piece of paper.
I like to read very short.
Micro novels. Or just really small text.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, do you know, I got mine pretty quick, though, and I got it through bookstore.org. Is that what it's called?
.gov.
No. Hold on.
I'm going to bookstore.gov.
Bookshop.org. Do you know about that?
Okay.
What's bookstore.gov, then? That's where I've been getting my book.
Oh, that's cool. I don't know about this.
So it basically has like it's like as quick and easy as ordering on Amazon, but the orders go to local bookstores, not necessarily local to you, but like local in general.
Yeah,
and I think you can do some. I think you can do some directing as to where there's like a charity aspect to it also. I haven't like looked deeply into it, but. I've ordered from them like twice, and both times the packages have come from just like mom and pop bookstores. So I feel good about it.
Nice. Cool.
Give it a shot.
There's also
Give it a shot.
Isn't there like indiebooks.com or something?
IndieBound? Is that something?
That sounds right.
Oh, Biblio got a new website. Biblio is good for used books. They used rare and out of print books from independent booksellers. They have been great. I bought like a out of print book on there, like one of like an out of print copy of Ann Lister's diaries, like a edited volume, like one of the last copies, and now it's like on Amazon for like $800. So that's
holy
my
shit,
like,
really?
That's my current. I bought it for like $80, which is like was just quite the splurge. And now it's like the same copy is like $800 on Amazon. I'm like, it's the gem of my library right now. So
congratulations on your expensive book.
Thanks. Thank you.
Cool. So,
well, good obsession. Fun.
Yeah. Thanks.
Sounds
books.
really fun.
I'm excited to finish it. I'm this far. Can you see?
See? And you can just know that exactly because it's a paper book. Excuse me, please. I would like to point out that bookshop.org has a really great list. I clicked on browse and they have an LGBTQ plus page, and it's like organized awesomely.
Oh,
it's really cool. They've got the whole like Lambda Literary Awards finalists in nonfiction and poetry and fiction. Very cool.
Neat.
A plus.
Great job, bookshop.org. Oh yeah, look at that.
Excellent.
Wow, really nice.
A plus. A plus.
A plus. And a cute little illustration at the top of it of two indiscriminate creatures in love. I don't know what those are.
Wow.
They're cute.
They're indiscriminate creatures in love.
Okay. Is it me now?
Welcome to you now.
Yes.
Welcome to me now. I was certain that I must have done this before, but I haven't, and I've been rewatching it this week. So I thought I would bring the Mighty Boosh.
Mighty Boosh, come with us to the Mighty Boosh.
So most people know the Mighty Boosh because of one part of one of their TV episodes that went viral in the early 2000s called Old Greg.
I'm Old Greg.
And that is how I discovered them also. At least most people in the US, that's how they know them.
You can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think I'm going to take credit for discovering the Mighty Boosh through Old Greg. Because I have a distinct memory of when I was in middle school, someone telling me about the Old Greg video and coming home and watching it, and then we figured out it was from Mighty Boosh.
It's very possible.
And watch them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give myself that one.
Okay.
All right, fucking hipster.
It was definitely, I mean, hipster would be, I knew about Mighty Boosh before all Greg went viral.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, if middle schoolers were hearing about it, it probably was pretty viral already.
Yeah.
But the Mighty Boosh actually, so the TV show started in 2004, but they had actually been doing various versions of their act as the Mighty Boosh since 1998. So the driving force behind the Mighty Boosh are two like comedians. One of them is Noel Fielding, who is now like a co-host on frickin'
Great British Bake Off.
Yeah. And the other, but he was much, well, you know, he was that many years younger. And the other one is Julian Barrett, who we talked about last week, which I think is probably why the Mighty Boosh, I started thinking about the Mighty Boosh again, who was a major character in like one or two episodes of Killing Eve in the second season. And I honestly think he's like probably the better actor of the two of them. Even back then, like watching it back now, Julian Barrett was always like kind of a much better actor than Noel Fielding, but Noel Fielding always just had this like, you know, this carefree like mod rocker charm that he still has these days.
Yeah. That's like what
Noel
carries
Fielding
his
is
what?
always Noel Fielding, regardless of what like character he's playing.
Yes. He's totally.
But it's just delightful
Who did he
because
play
I
in
love
Killing
Noel
Eve?
Fielding.
His character is Julian also in Killing Eve.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's the guy who.
I have to look this up.
He's the guy who rescues her from the grocery store.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Sorry, I like as soon as you said that, I like saw a picture of him and was like,
I can't believe I didn't notice that when I was watching.
I know.
This is the exact conversation we had last week about this, but
it's very
still...
it's very fitting that you didn't recognize the person who plays Howard Moon when you saw him somewhere else.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ben, I guess, caused me to discover the Mighty Boosh, and then I became quite obsessed with them around that time. Like 2000, I don't know if they were still on the air, so it might have been like 2008 or later.
That sounds right. That lines up with middle school for me.
Okay, yeah. So they were not quite on the air, but they were recent. And I think we watched the whole TV show, and then I realized there had been a radio show before that, and I think
that's right.
I had to like buy it on iTunes because I couldn't find it anywhere else. Side note, I can't get to those files anymore because I like never use iTunes anymore, and it's very sad. I keep like trying to find a way to get them back because I think I listened to the radio show first. I don't know why, but I feel like that's the original for me in my head. But anyway, like the premise of the radio show and like the first season of the TV show is that these two guys, Howard Moon, who's played by Julian Barrett, and Vince Noir, who's played by Noel Fielding, work together.
I forgot that was his name.
Yeah. They work together at a zoo, at like a rundown zoo in England that's run by this like awful, ridiculous American guy named Bob Fossil, who's played by Rich Fulcher, who also went on to have like a strong career in mostly British comedy, I would say.
He's in a few episodes of Bob's Burgers, too.
He's so funny.
Voice acting
he's
in America.
So funny in this and like in everything. He's just like got this like, I don't know how to describe him. He's not likable at all. He's
just absurd.
Yes, he's very absurd and hateably funny. And my favorite bit that I had forgotten about from the Mighty Boosh is that Bob Fossil, who owns this zoo for at least like 10 years, he's owned a zoo, can't remember the name of any animals. He
I forgot about that.
someone says something to him about the oh god, I'm trying to think of some of the names because he also gives them really ridiculous names. Like one of them, he calls the fucking python, he calls the windy man and the long mover. He calls he calls the elephant the little leg face man. One time he's trying to have a conversation with Howard about a gorilla, but he can't remember the word gorilla, so he has Howard say it into a recorder, and then every time that he has to say it, he just plays that back to him. So it's like so bizarre. I love it. And it's like fully absurd. Like I think, so here's the thing, watching it back, I still find it very, very funny. I do think there are some choices that they made with like character makeup that maybe would be frowned upon today, or like some issues with a little bit of like cultural appropriation, or a little bit of like insensitive language. Like they like use the R word at one point, I noticed. It just kind of like it never occurred to me at the time, but like looking back, you know, these things, like we didn't know what we didn't know, and like neither did they. And I don't think it sullies it for me, but you know, you always just like watch things with a fresh eye. But the overall tone of the show, I would say, is like completely absurdist and sort of like silly in this almost like childlike way. Like it's like you half of your mind feels like you're watching a kid's show, but like the stuff that they're talking about and doing is like not for kids. It's just like, and things take these like wild left turns out of nowhere that I feel like in a lot of ways like shaped what I find funny for the rest of my life. Like this show, I checked, started airing before Tim and Eric. Awesome show, great job. And I don't know this for a fact that it was an influence or anything, but I don't feel like I would have been able to fully appreciate Tim and Eric in the same way that I did without like being high for the first several times I watched it, but also like if I didn't have the foundation of like the silly, ridiculous, absurd insanity of this show. I feel like it like laid groundwork for what those things can be and do. And it's just so much fun. I just find it a joy to rewatch. I'm very happy that I'm doing it.
Where are you watching
on
it?
Hulu.
Oh,
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
And I think I found the radio
I feel very
series
much the same way.
Huh?
I feel very much the same way about that show.
Yeah. I found the radio series on YouTube just now, I think, also. And that's only 6 episodes. And it has like a lot of sort of the same plot lines that are in the first season of the TV show. But I like some of the music better. Oh, also there's like a lot of music in the show, like all the way through. And a lot of it's really good. Like it really gets stuck in your head. Still to this day, it like really holds up. It's very silly, but it's like, I don't know. It's just, it makes me happy to hear it.
Now, crimpity, ask me how.
Crimpity. Yeah, they do a lot of crimping too, which is kind of like that. Or like, what is the first, Kama Llama down, Kama Llama deep down in the ocean.
Down in the ocean.
Blue like a barnacle, sitting in the tight place, laughing at the monkey. Oh, they just...
Yeah, I mean, that Kama Llama down will pop into my head like every couple months for my whole life.
Yeah.
It's on a recurring schedule.
Yeah.
There's like talking animals. There's like Vince Noir can talk to animals, but some of them also just talk.
God about that.
Like they at one point they go into like they have to rescue Howard from purgatory because he got mistaken for a gorilla, and now they're gonna either send him to gorilla hell or gorilla heaven because they can't bring him back. Like it's just like all over the map. It's just delightful. I just love it.
Doesn't it like all also kind of look low budget, but like on purpose low budget?
Yeah, you know, I don't know.
It was probably actually low budget also, but
I don't know how on purpose it is. Well, I think that they got more popular as the series went on, the TV series. So I think that further along the seasons, the shows get a little bit less low budget looking, but they never stop having this kind of like aesthetic. Like they have the same aesthetic throughout, which is kind of like, yeah, it's like kind of low budget aesthetic. You're not wrong.
Where does old Greg fit into all this? Like, how does that, like, you know, you describing the plot, I'm like, how do they then encounter old Greg?
I think that's like after they're done working at the zoo.
Yeah, I think that.
And they're a band?
After the first season, they don't work at the first or second season. I think the first season, they don't work at the zoo anymore. Yeah, I think maybe they are a band. So I think that I think it's in the same episode as The Hitcher, who's like a Cockney nightmare who like wants to murder them and has like big like white Cheerio looking things all over his face, and it's weird. But like they just encounter him, I think. I don't remember exactly what's going on.
They're like fishing or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Howard's fishing and old Greg shows up on his boat. That's all I remember.
They're always just doing shit like that, you know? After the first season.
Yeah.
The first season is very much like within the zoo, but then they do branch out after that.
I feel like we would like re-listen to the radio show
all the time.
on like road trips all the time.
We listened to it a ton. Like if it had been on a CD, the CD would have been like scratched up to oblivion, the amount that we listened to it. I can remember just laying in my bedroom, like with me on the bed and you on the floor, and we were just listening to episodes of it. Like it was I actually think it's my favorite, like, I like it even more than the TV show. At least the first season of the TV show. I think because they have such similar storylines, I like the radio show better than I like the first season. But then like the second season and beyond, where they kind of go past those storylines, I really like the show. And
how many seasons is it? Did you say?
I didn't say. I think it's 4 seasons. 2004.
Do you have a sense for like how popular the show was in the UK?
I think it was pretty popular.
Because I realized I don't. Because I definitely wasn't super popular here.
No, it wasn't. Although it is one of those things.
I've never heard of it.
It is one of those things, though, that like Homestar Runner, I feel like I didn't know anybody outside our family who watched Homestar Runner, and now everybody remembers it. So like maybe people just weren't talking about it. I don't know. But yeah, I think it was pretty. I mean, they did like live tours for a couple of years afterwards, where they just like did characters from the show and stuff like that.
I think one of my favorite things about that show, and sort of just that, like that comedy duo's dynamic in general, because it's true of both their characters and in real life, is just how drastically different both of those people are. Like Julian Barrett is kind of the ultimate straight man to Noel Fielding's just absolute ridiculousness. And it's just so delightful. Like Noel Fielding is like he's like friends with a bunch of celebrities, and like, yeah, he's got like the mod rocker look, and he like goes out and parties all the time. And like Julian Barrett doesn't like even to do press really. Like he just likes to live a quiet, very sheltered from like celebrity life. And it's so interesting that they ended up working together and like working well together. And I think I can't imagine how it happened.
I think they're still like friends. I see them like post about
I think so,
and tag each other and things. But yeah, in the show, Howard Moon is like a huge fan of like jazz, and very like he's like obsessed with the woman who runs the snake house, whose name is Mrs. Gideon. He's in love with her, but she can never remember who he is. She never recognizes him. They meet like she's always like, "Who are you?" and that's like the running joke, is that Howard's like so generic that no one even can see his face. Like, and then Vince, is always like joining bands and stuff like that.
And dressed extravagantly.
Yeah, it has this like big hair. And that's kind of what they're like in real life. So, I would say if you watch it and you haven't seen it before, let me know what you think, because this is one of those things that's so tinged with the nostalgia for me that I don't know if it's, I mean, like I said, it's a little bit boring for Ian. But our sense of humor don't always align perfectly. Like, I definitely like tend more towards liking kind of absurdist comedy than he does. So,
watch it and let her know.
Yeah, let me know if it's good, so I can either, apologize to my husband for ever doubting him, or rub it in his face.
Yeah, it's so strange. I feel like that kind of popular opinion of like, or like general consensus of if something is good. Sometimes it's just like, I feel like most of us tend to agree with that, but then we just all have things where like I'll die on the hill of Meet Joe Black, which has terrible reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, but I think it's just like a brilliant movie,
I love it.
Yeah. And it always makes me wonder, like, what, even today, if I were to watch it today, I would be enthralled with every moment. And I just always wonder, like, what is that makes us deviate on some things, Whereas normally I feel like we're with the group.
It is interesting. There are a lot of those movies and TV shows where, like, for some reason as a culture we, like, agreed they were bad.
Yeah.
And, like, you go back and watch and they're, like, fine. And it's like, unclear.
Incredible.
Yeah, or great.
Well, actually, Meet Joe Black is interesting. I'm just refreshing my memory. It is a 53% rotten, but 81% audience score. So that's pretty disparate.
That's interesting. But that's another one that's also tinged with nostalgia for us, because you and I watched it together a lot, Erin.
Yeah, but I feel like some things are tinged with nostalgia that I can, like, see through. Yeah. And I'm like, you know, okay, I remember why I liked it as a kid, but I don't really like it anymore. And there are some things, like, I would stand by that 100%, you know? So, which I feel like is how you are with Mighty Boosh.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Like, I still think the creative choices they made, like, they weren't just they're wildly silly, and they're silly to be silly, but they're still extremely creative. Like, they're things that the reason that they're so absurd and they strike you by such surprise, even now telling Ben about it, who's, like, watched it probably as much as I have, is because, like, they're so absurd they can't even stick in your mind. Like, the number of times I've laughed out loud at this show that I've seen probably half a dozen times before is just off the charts. It's just silly ass shit. I love it.
Silly ass
shit. So that's it.
Nice, good one.
Yeah, thank you. We're bringing the heat tonight. In my opinion.
That's right.
Erin, what's your obsession?
I'm ready to bring some heat. I got a big obsession. It's this book I finished. It's called The City in the Middle of the Night by Charlie Jane Anders.
I feel like I've heard of that.
Nationally. It's the book that
book club book.
That our family's book club is doing.
I have 2 copies of that on my shelf.
Oh.
Oh, why do you have 2?
Because Kylie ordered it from our local bookstore, and it was taking forever to ship, and she, like, contacted them, and they were like, oh, whoops, we messed up or something, and I think she, like, ordered another one, but and they canceled the first one, but then they just accidentally sent 2 anyway. Wow. So we have 2 now.
Nice. Did she read it? Did you read it?
No, she's not read it. I have not read it. Neither of us have read it. Okay.
Okay. Well, you have 2 copies. I don't know if you read it twice. Anyway, I'm reading it for...
Yeah, I read it once and I was like, this is so good. Will it be good if I read a different copy of it? And it was.
It was also still good.
Turns out, did you know that they're actually exactly the same?
Okay, hold on. Okay, oh my god. I am recording my podcast.
What?
Sorry, Sarah is, like, pinging. She, like, literally pinged me. Shout out to Sarah. Sarah, if you, oh my god, she's sent back an eye roll emoji. Sarah. And said, such a diva. I'm putting this under Netster. Sarah, if you're listening, oh my god. Anyway, so our family is doing a Hugo finalists book club. I think it is, which is, like, I guess the sci-fi book club awards. I haven't, like, I think it was so. Young adult books. What'd you say?
I thought it was for young adult books, but I was probably just wrong.
Oh, I think it is maybe young adult sci-fi books.
I thought it was just sci-fi. All sci-fi.
I think what it is that all
young adult's a stupid fucking distinction.
I think all sci-fi written by women gets classified as young adult sci-fi, so maybe that's what it
is.
That is I don't know.
Correct.
Yeah.
Annual literary award for best science fiction or fantasy works and achievements of the previous year.
Okay.
Cool. Yep. I'm not, like, historically, like, fond of sci-fi books. That's not by a rule or anything. It's just, like, sometimes I have trouble having them catch my attention. Mm-hmm. I think as I was starting this book, I think a lot of what it is, like, when you start a sci-fi book, there's often so much world building that has to happen, and just, it can be a little overwhelming for me, or hard to, like, sink my teeth into. And this one was a little bit just, there wasn't a ton, but just, like, it took me a while to catch up, but I quickly really loved it. So it's, anyway, the reason that they got me to join this book club was Dominic personally called me and was like, it's got lesbians in it. And I was like, I'm in, sign me up. So,
he knows
about the book same day. He does. I mean, it's effective marketing, right? If you're reading it anyway and you know it has lesbians in it. So he had read it and then called me and told me about it. That's not a spoiler. It's definitely, there's, I would say, like, there's two main characters. The book, oscillates between, it being from the point of view of one and the point of view of the other. An interesting note, which is not a giveaway at all, is that Sophie and Mouth are the two characters. When you're reading Sophie's chapters, it's first person, and when you're reading Mouth's chapters, it's third person, which I thought was a really interesting choice that never really... I guess I'll have to think about it. I'm interested to hear what book club... We're meeting about book club tomorrow. I'm interested to hear what other people think, because I don't really feel like that ever came up. It's just like something I noticed. It's just like, because usually when you switch back and forth...
Did you say the name is Mouth?
Mouth. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Like this thing.
And that comes up. Yeah, okay. That thing.
Like this thing I eat with? This hole I shove food in?
The thing I just used to down the old milkshake.
Chew on the chunks?
I would say there's a lot more, like, homo-romanticism in this book than, like... But I think it's really cool and really interesting and really powerful throughout the whole thing. Even, there are some, like, relationships that are not ever explicitly romantic, but they feel very romantic, like, the whole time, and I feel like that was a purposeful choice. Anyway, I just thought it was, like, just really nice and lovely and really interesting, like, character development, and you're kind of in situations where you think your characters are going to do something and then they surprise you and make you proud. So I just really loved it. Oh, also really, like, beautiful writing, just some, like, really wonderful turns of phrase that happened kind of in my hand. I'll just read this. Like, I take Bianca's chin in my other hand, gentle as picking a pocket. Just, like, things like that. Just, like, really lovely writing that she has. And I really liked it. I read it quickly and really enjoyed it. So, highly recommend. Check it on out.
Cool.
City in the middle of the night.
All right, let me see. Bookshop.org.
Ben has 2 copies, so he can throw you.
Can you throw me one?
Yeah, I'll throw it to you from 10 feet away. I'll do a drive-by.
Just throw it at my lawn, yeah.
And leave.
Oh my god. Sarah continues, quote, I'm a famous podcast star. Wink face. Are these texts annoying? Question mark. All different texts. I put you on do not disturb. So text away.
Tell her I said to stop disturbing the famous podcast stars.
Stop
disturbing the talent.
Yeah, stop disturbing the talent.
Podcast stars. Ben, stop disturbing the talent. Excuse me.
Well, that's cool. I'm going to order it. I'm ordering it.
Oh, cool. Excellent. Yeah, get at least 2 copies.
I was about to say, oh yeah, I'll order it too. But I was like, no, wait. I got 2 copies. Kylie and I can read it at the same time.
Sarah says, tell Hannah she is a queen and I miss her the most. Tell Ben one day we'll meet and I'm sure we'll be long lost soulmates. And then she did a kissy face.
Wow, it ended so nice.
Oh, I love her. I miss Sarah. I miss you too.
Yeah, she's been drinking.
That's cool. That's cool. Oh man. I can't believe I'm getting three long weekends in a row. I am a queen.
it's so good.
You really did it.
I did. I really did it. And I knew it all along.
Yeah, you definitely planned it like that.
Yeah.
My friend's birthday is tomorrow, and at his company, they happen to have Friday and Monday off.
Oh.
So
Wow.
his birthday on a Thursday gets to be a Friday before
yeah.
a freaking 4-day weekend.
This thing remembers my password,
Sick
but
as
it's not
hell.
the right password.
Maybe we can do it after the podcast.
Maybe we can do it after the podcast.
All right, we gotta finish this old podcast stuff.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Hannah, what's your homework? I mean, Ben, what's your homework?
My homework is to read The 7 1/2 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle.
By Stuart
You got it.
By Stuart. What's his name? Stuart what?
Turton.
Stuart Turton. Stuart Turton.
It's a good thing he's not from the American South.
Start Turton.
His name would be
Stuart Turton.
Start Turton.
Start Turton.
Oh, man.
What is his name, you think? Stuart Turton. That's very different.
His name is Stuart Turton.
Anyway, good book. What about your social and stuff? Social security
You know
number.
what's weird? All right, my social security number is 123456789.
Please. Oh my gosh. That's probably someone's social security number. Wonder how they handled that.
Oh my god,
They must have. I hope they have a system to not have it be that.
Yeah.
You know what's weird is that in England, the book is called The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and in America it's called The 7 1/2 Deaths.
interesting.
What the fuck? Do they not have
Yeah.
halves? Is that because of the metric system?
Yeah, it's probably.
Where did it-
Well, they use the imperial system there too.
Did it come out in England first, or at the same time, or what?
Yeah. All right. I don't know if it came out first there or not. But it's a British author and a British book. My Twitter, you said social media, whatever. My Twitter, it's nicely
heard
proved
British
Ben.
big.
You know what it is.
A
My
British
Twitter's
big?
nicely proved Ben. Why did you ask?
Huh?
My Twitter's nicely proved Ben. You don't need to ask me that. You know it.
You know that by heart.
I knew
You
it.
knew that. You knew that by heart.
I do know it.
And my Twitch is Disco Greg.
Yeah.
I streamed on Monday.
Nice.
Out of nowhere. Out of fucking left field, I streamed on Monday. What kind of weirdo does that?
What a
Whoa.
fucking...
But you announced
fucking
it like it was
creep.
like your regular thing. You're like, my Monday night stream.
I would argue that specifying the night is announcing it as if it's not a normal thing. Like if it was a normal thing, I would have just said, I'm streaming.
Okay. Well, listen.
Well, no. It's like, if you would announce it on Monday, you'd be like, Monday night stream means like, I do this every Monday. It's like our Friday night podcast.
Okay, all right.
That we do
all right,
every
all
Friday.
right, all right.
I always go in so heavy to argue with you, but you're always just so accommodating, and I always feel like a fucking fool. I don't know who I'm used to arguing that come in like so hot and heavy. Maybe that's not the right word to be using.
I think that's because I come off like if I initially think I'm right about something, I very much come off strong about it.
Yeah.
In a way that seems like I won't be easily convinced.
Right, but you always are.
That's I'm always reminded, I think it's what a family trait, and I'm always reminded of Uncle Al saying, in our family we're right until we're wrong.
Or right until we're not.
Which I think is just like such a perfect way of describing it, where it's like, if we think we're right, we're gonna go to the grave thinking we're right. But if you can convince us, we'll be like, oh, sorry, I was wrong.
Yeah. I totally relate to that as well.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
But okay, let me tell you this story. I was watching a Kip Boga stream like today or yesterday, and he was
Or last
playing...
week.
Huh?
Or last week.
Or last week.
AKA yesterday.
And he was playing an old lady character, doing a social security number scam thing, or having it done to her. And the guy on the phone, first of all, he asked for her social security number, and she was like, do you mean like the last 4 or the whole thing? And he was like, whatever you're comfortable with, which is not what any legitimate person would ever say. And then he was like, just give me the last 4, right? But then later, when they started having trouble figuring out how to get money out of her, he was like, okay, now I need you to tell me the first 3 digits of your social security number. And she told him, and then he was like, okay, and the next 2?
Wow.
It was absurd. He just reminded me when you
whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
It's fucking so stupid.
Yeah. My homework is you can find, if you want to watch the Mighty Boosh, you can find it on Hulu. I believe all the seasons are on there. I think there's 4 seasons, or might be 3. And then also I put a link in our Slack, and I'll also share it with anybody who wants it, to the radio shows. Someone uploaded them onto YouTube, which was very kind of them, because I know I literally tried to find them several times ever since I lost the audio files, and I cannot. So thank you to Brian E. Hansen for doing that. I'm going to listen to them all.
Thanks, Brian.
And also, I'm on Twitter, unfortunately, at Anthropology, Instagram at Anthropology, on Twitch at Anthropology, but pretty much I just go on there to watch these folks and Kipoga. And what else? I have another podcast called So Dreamy. We talk about dreams. Our cover art's really beautiful. Come look at it. Listen to our episodes. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Erin, what's your homework?
Goodbye. Turning off my computer. What up? What up? Let's see. My homework is to read The City in the Middle of the Night by Charlie Jane Anders. I'm interested in checking out her other books. She's got 3, I want to say. Anyway, because I liked
8.
this one. All the Birds in the Sky. I think I've heard good things about
She's
that.
got 2 more on my shelf.
Oh.
That means nothing. What is it, like 3 of the same book?
Oh, I just meant 2 copies of that book. She's got on my shelf.
Yeah, if you want to check it out, write to Ben. He'll send you a copy. He's got 2.
My entire bookshelf is just that book.
Yeah. It's a little creepy, but he hasn't read it, so keeping the mystery alive,
Is that
I guess.
weirder or less weird? He hasn't read it.
Let's see what else. I am a reviewer of lesbian movies and other media at Lesbian Movie Reviews on Instagram, of all places. I'm on Twitch. My handle there is Disco Greg Just One. Spelled out.
It's a good bit.
And I'm thinking about playing some randomizer here soon.
Oh, cool.
And I think that's all for me. Hi, Kylie.
Hi, Kylie.
Hi, Kylie.
Kylie, you can say hi. They're saying hi to you.
Oh, I was just waving, but I forgot I could.
I always forget the direction, too.
Yeah.
I can, kind of read Erin's lips.
Oh, she said I always forget the direction too, and she was actually just doing it right there because you couldn't hear her.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a...
What's up? Are you guys done?
Oh, yeah.
We're almost done. I have a confession to make for the loyal listeners who have listened this far in the episode before I do the final homework. I fell asleep during the editing of last week's episode. I was editing in bed for the first time in a while. And during my own obsession, I dozed off. And I think I missed about 30 to 40 minutes of audio. So if you heard any weird noises that I failed to cut out, I apologize.
I'm so glad nothing happened in there, because I'll frequently be like, Hannah, I'm about to say something, cut it out of the podcast.
Usually, I did kind of skim through, I went back and skimmed through what I thought I had not been awake for, and it seemed fine. And also, I usually remember when you say that, I remember, how many spots there were at least, and there was only one last week, and I knew I had already cut it, so I felt fine about it.
I thought that you did a great job with the editing. There were some things that was I remember us really going on and on about that, and you just snip, snip.
Thank you. Sometimes I'm more cutthroat than others some weeks. And then some other times the same week I do that, I also fall asleep. So, you know.
Was that the episode where you were giving us, motivating tips on how to succeed at getting your dreams?
Yeah. That's the one.
Okay.
If you want to call us and leave us a voicemail, you can do that. Tell us your obsession this week or just talk to us. Whatever you want. You can do that at 774-326-0420.
Blaze it.
Blaze it. Happy Earth Day. You can follow us on Twitter at TwoBroadPod. You can find us on Instagram at WayTooBroad. You can email us at WayTooBroad@gmail.com. And if you missed any of the contact info we just gave or any of the homework, you can find all of that at WayTooBroad.com for anything you want. EarnBen.com for anything you need. And please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts if you want. We love you. Appreciate it. We appreciate you. Thanks for listening.
Hey, love
guess
you.
what? I've overcompensated for my previous sins, and I now have 3 candle lids in here.
Please put all of them on the podcast candle.
Okay, hold on. I will. This is worth it. Okay. The podcast candle is now triple extinguished.
Triple extinguished!
Bye. Oh, my license expires this year on my birthday.
Congratulations.
Thanks.